A Christian cult.
Djamel Ben Ismail was a 38-year-old artist and activist from a quiet town in Algeria, a North African country sitting right on the Mediterranean coast. He painted, played music, and had once marched in the pro-democracy protests that shook the country a few years earlier. In August 2021, massive wildfires ripped through Kabylia, a mountainous, heavily forested region in northern Algeria known for its Berber or Amazigh population. Djamel posted on Twitter that he would travel over 300 kilometers, basically crossing half the country to help victims of the fires. But as the flames spread, panic spread faster online. Social media in Algeria filled up with posts blaming arsonists for starting the fires. Fear mixed with anger, and suddenly people saw strangers through the filter of suspicion. By the time Djamel reached the town of Larba-Nath Arathan, also in Kabylia, the rumors had already hardened into paranoia. Locals, wound tight by fear and grief, turned on him and accused him of being one of the supposed arsonists. Sensing the danger, Djamel walked straight into the local police station and asked for protection. Outside, a crowd had already gathered, their rage stoked by the same rumors bouncing around social media. What had started as online posts was now a mob banging on the station's doors. The mob forced their way in, dragged Djamel outside, and attacked him. He was beaten, stabbed, and then set on fire. Phones were everywhere. People recorded video, some even taking selfies as his body burned. Within hours, the same footage was flying across Algerian social media. Djamel's last moments were now viral clips, but this time, the internet flipped. Outrage erupted nationwide. Hashtags like "Justice for Djamel Ben Ismail" trended, demanding accountability. Police started making arrests, but not the usual way where detectives piece things together. Instead, suspects were pulled straight out of the viral videos. The same clips that had been shared as content now doubled as evidence. Faces, clothes, even the way someone moved in the crowd became impossible to deny. Courts handed down sentences. Some were given the death penalty, others got long prison terms. The government pointed to the footage and tried to tie the tragedy to separatist groups in Kabylia, movements that have pushed for more autonomy from Algeria's central government. Critics were not buying it, saying the state was just using Djamel's death to push its own narrative. Suddenly, the clips were not just evidence anymore. They were propaganda tools. In the middle of all this noise, Djamel's father stepped up, and instead of demanding revenge, he called for calm and unity. His words spread online too, cutting through the anger with something rare: dignity instead of hate. By then, Djamel's story had shifted. It was not just about one man's killing. It showed how fast rumors online could flip a hero into a villain, how phones could turn violence into shareable content, and how viral images could outlast both truth and justice. Deborah was 19, from a small town in Niger State, a region in north-central Nigeria, one of the 36 states in the country. She left home for college and moved up to Sokoto, a city in the far northwest near the border with Niger Republic. Her school was Shehu Shagari College of Education, a teacher's training college named after a former Nigerian president. On the surface, her life was just like any other student's, but like everywhere else now, much of that student life had shifted online, especially into WhatsApp groups, which in Nigeria is the go-to app for everything from family chats to work and school updates. The class had one of those groups, officially for schoolwork, but it often filled up with religious posts, something common in northern Nigeria where religion is tightly woven into daily life. Deborah pushed back, asking them to keep the group focused on academics, and that little pushback was enough to spark tension. Some classmates started teasing her about how she managed to pass her exams, and she answered with a voice note saying,
"Holy Ghost fire ba abun da zai faru da mu. Dole ne wasu abubuwan da ya kamata ku tura muna, ba wai an yi group din ga don ture abubuwan banza bane fa. An yi don pass you, in akwai test in an bada assignment a tura ba wai abubuwan banzan ga za ku ta tura mana ba manzon Allah din me an zo an buro ba.
Holy Ghost fire, nothing will happen to me. That phrase is a typical Pentecostal Christian way of speaking. Very common in southern Nigeria, but often misunderstood or even provocative in the Muslim-majority north. To Deborah, it was just her faith talking. To some of them, it sounded like blasphemy. They told her to retract her words, and she refused. What started as a small WhatsApp argument spread fast through phones and conversations, turning into public anger before anyone even saw her in person. By the next morning, the anger had spilled from the chats into real life on campus. Crowds of students cornered Deborah. Campus security tried to shield her, locking her inside a tiny guard post, but the mob broke in and dragged her out. The mob stoned and beat Deborah until she went down. Then they poured petrol on her and set her body on fire. Around them, nobody tried to stop it. Instead, phones stayed up, recording everything. Within hours, those clips spread across Nigeria. WhatsApp pushed it through private chats, Facebook pages reposted it, and Twitter threads replayed it over and over. Her killing became viral content, not just news. Sokoto's governor reacted by ordering a curfew and shutting down the college to cool the tension in the city. The streets went quiet, but the internet did not. The videos of Deborah's death kept circulating, reaching far more people than any curfew could contain. In Sokoto, crowds marched demanding the release of the arrested students, and some protests turned violent. In southern Nigeria, where the population is mostly Christian, churches held peaceful demonstrations calling for justice.
The 12th of May, 2022. Sometime this year, about 2 months ago, an innocent girl called Deborah Samuel Yakubu was murdered gruesomely in the Shehu Shagari College of Education. Up until this moment, we have never heard anything from the government of Sokoto State or the federal government.
The same divide played out online, where hashtags turned the case into a digital battlefield. One side justifying the mob, and the other side demanding accountability. The heat got too loud, and the government dragged in one of the killers. Just for the cameras, nothing real. When it got to court, the two students who had been arrested faced only minor charges. Even those dragged on until they quietly collapsed, leaving the accused to walk free. But online, the evidence never went away. Their faces stayed frozen in those viral clips, circulating long after the legal system closed the case.
Which right they get to go buy una human being? All in the name of say insult Muhammad. Muhammad for WhatsApp group, because of WhatsApp group, WhatsApp voice note, una kind poor innocent una kpaya. And Nigerians don't forget about that incident. I even made video for that itself. Many people they drop comment section, they talk nothing for comment, they say, make I forget that stuff. The incident don't go. You when they drop that nonsense comment, if that's now your family, your sister, or one of the this in the buy, you go they challenge me like that, say I won't come beat that matter up again. Why do they do like this for this country now? I wanna see what is gonna happen now. If I say this time around, make it push, make it cancel every religion for Nigeria first. Christian, Muslim, all nonsense fucking religion. Make it see ourselves, make we know where we belong. Make it see ourselves first. So that we go know, make you see our problem, make you know where we can solve our problem. just buy that girl for nothing and nobody talk about it again. Deborah, for Sokoto say you such Mohammed, and nobody talk about that. Why they no take justice for Deborah? Those people where they acquire, they're supposed to question them. They're supposed to pick them up. They're supposed to buy them. And you look Pukui. They go on a lap and say Mohammed. Who is Mohammed? That's Yahweh. And you go to better for now. And you look Pukui. You send people everywhere. You go buy person. Say you such Mohammed. You not them mad?
In the last week of April 2021, Iniubong Umoren, known to her friends as Hini, was in that in-between stage many young Nigerians know too well. She had just finished studying philosophy at the University of Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State, a small oil-rich corner of the Niger Delta, and was waiting for her National Youth Service Corps posting, the mandatory one-year program that sends fresh graduates to work in different parts of the country, essentially the bridge between school and adult life. While she waited, she needed something to do. Money was tight, and like thousands of other graduates across the country, she turned to the internet. Please, I'm really in need of a job, something to do to keep mind and soul together while contributing dutifully to the organization. My location is Uyo. I'm creative, really good in thinking critically, and most importantly, a fast learner. CV available on request. On Twitter, she posted under the hashtag Akwa Ibom Twitter, the online community of people from her state, with a simple message. She was looking for a job, anything to keep her busy and bring in some money. Replies came in, and not just pity ones. One man stood out. He said he had a job opening and asked her to come for an interview. On the surface, it looked like the kind of lucky break unemployed graduates pray for. In reality, it was not opportunity. It was bait. On April 29th, 2021, 2 days after that tweet, Hini got ready to meet him. She did not even have enough cash, so she borrowed about 2,000 naira, roughly $4 United States, for transport from her friend. That same friend, uneasy about the whole thing, told her to share the man's phone number just in case. It felt like a small precaution, but later that number would become one of the biggest clues. At 4:16 p.m. that day, her friend's phone rang. It was Hini, but instead of hearing her voice, all she heard were screams. Loud, panicked, desperate. Then the line went dead. Calls back did not connect. Messages got no reply. The fear went from vague to real in seconds. By that evening, her last tweet was all over Nigerian Twitter. A new hashtag, #FindHiniUmoren, took off. Strangers who had never met her started piecing things together online, sharing her photos, tracking the man's digital footprint, and demanding answers. While police on the ground told her family to wait 24 hours, the internet was already in full search and rescue mode. As the hours went by, the gap between the police and the internet became obvious. While the authorities moved at their usual slow pace, people on Twitter were chasing leads in real time. They dug up the man's name, his pictures, even his past activities. The online crowd refused to let the story die in paperwork or excuses. They kept it loud, public, and impossible to ignore. By May 2nd, the police finally made a move. They arrested 20-year-old Uduak Frank Akpan, who quickly confessed.
So initially, what was your motive? Before you asked her to come to get the job, what was your motive? What was in your mind initially?
Well, initially I used reverse psychology on her because I've had very bad experiences with runs girls and with prostitutes. So I used reverse psychology on her. I asked her whether she can work in a farm where hard drugs are kept, and she accepted. She even told me that she takes marijuana and cocaine. So I felt that that's the best way to revenge on the prostitutes and runs girls. And because of the run,
prostitute?
No, I don't. I used to. I don't.
The job offer had been fake, and he admitted he assaulted and killed Iniubong before burying her in a shallow grave. But for most Nigerians, it was not the official police press release that hit first. It was the wave of tweets announcing it, turning the hashtag from Find Iniubong into Justice for Iniubong. Even the confirmation of her death came the same way her story started, online. More details followed, and they made things even darker. Akpan had not just done this once. Investigators found he had lured other women before with the same fake job trick. People online began connecting the dots, framing him not as an isolated predator, but as a symptom of a bigger problem, men using unemployment and the internet as hunting tools. When the trial started, it did not just stay inside the courtroom. Every hearing was live tweeted, updates spreading the second they happened. Even the moment Akpan tried to escape from the dock after being sentenced to death was captured on video and shared within minutes.
Take your camera. My friend, will you get up from my face? Will you get up from my face? Will you stop that nonsense?
What should have been a quiet court process became a national spectacle. Justice playing out live before an online audience. The case forced Nigerians to face some hard truths. Violence against women was not rare. It was everywhere. Most victims never saw justice unless their cases blew up online. And with unemployment crushing young people, fake job offers like the one that trapped Iniubong were landmines waiting for anyone desperate enough to try. Her story exposed both dangers at once, and the internet made sure the whole country saw it. In the end, Iniubong just wanted a job. Instead, her last tweet became her memorial. Her name now lives on in hashtags, a warning of how predators hunt online and proof of how that same internet can be turned into a weapon for justice. Paul Ntheng Mackenzie used to be just a taxi driver in Malindi, a coastal town in Kenya's tourist belt better known for beaches than anything else. In 2003, he started a church called Good News International Ministries, and from the beginning, his preaching leaned hard on fear. He told his followers that schools, hospitals, sports, music, and even the United Nations were satanic. He pushed the line that education is evil and told parents to pull their kids out of school. Most of his ideas came from imported end-time teachings, the kind of extreme Christian preaching obsessed with the end of the world, and over time he twisted it into his own doctrine. The apocalypse was near, and the only way to be saved was to literally starve yourself to death so you would be ready to meet Jesus. By 2017, police raided Mackenzie's compound and found more than 40 kids who had been yanked out of school. Online, word of his cult was already spreading, but locally the case went nowhere, as he cut a plea bargain, basically a deal, to avoid serious charges. In 2019, county officials shut down his church, but Mackenzie just packed everything up and shifted into Shakahola Forest, a remote wooded stretch in Kalifi County along the coast, where he isolated his followers and kept preaching in secret. By early 2023, Mackenzie declared that the world would end on April 15th. Families abandoned their homes and moved into the forest, obeying his order to fast themselves to death. Survivors later explained that his aides acted like enforcers, beating or suffocating anyone who tried to resist fasting. In March, after relatives raised alarms, police raided the site and uncovered children buried alive. Mackenzie was arrested, but what really shook people was how quickly he got out. The bail was so low that people online compared it to the cost of a cheap phone. After his release, Mackenzie told his followers to speed things up, pushing the date of the apocalypse forward, and the fasting turned more brutal. Survivors later revealed the darkest part. While children and families were starving, Mackenzie himself was secretly eating in the background. On April 13th, 2023, police raided Shakahola again and pulled out 15 people barely clinging to life. 4 of them did not make it. Days later, investigators started digging, and what came out of the ground spread everywhere online. Each new grave pushed the body count higher, turning into a grim digital ticker of death that people refreshed on news sites and social platforms. By mid-2024, the number had crossed 440 bodies. Most showed signs of starvation, while others had marks from strangling or suffocation. Then came rumors of missing organs, sparking a fresh round of online theories that maybe the cult's crimes were even darker than anyone thought. Families rushed into Shakahola, desperate to know if their missing relatives were among the dead. Under pressure, leaders finally acted. Kenya's president publicly called Mackenzie a terrorist, a statement that spread quickly. The trials dragged on, with charges ranging from killings to terrorism. Meanwhile, families kept waiting. Hundreds of victims still have not been identified, and many relatives now refresh government websites for DNA test results, the same way they once scrolled through WhatsApp groups when their loved ones first went missing. The Shakahola Forest massacre is now cemented in Africa's internet history as one of its darkest horrors. That brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and good night.